good to have the old music back.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name's Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is a man who tried to rizz up some Iranian baddies over the weekend, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how we doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Had to, I don't like the way my hair looks. I was out shoveling snow.
Yeah, you look all
Had to try to read, had to touch it up after wearing a hat. Hat hair. I got to get a haircut soon, everybody. But I'm doing well. I enjoyed our little battery recharge, but I'm excited to be back. And obviously, the NFL, they were gracious enough to wait for us. We got a ton to talk about. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. You know, we've got some things to talk about. We were going to talk about. It's so funny. We had a production meeting, off-air production meeting on Saturday afternoon. We discussed our plans for the spring and the summer. We'll get to that in the second segment of the show. But we talked about how when we come back on Tuesday, we're going to talk about what we missed, what happened in sports that we missed over the last week that we were off, and all of a sudden the NFL decides to news dump on Tuesday before the new year begins. So it's like, all right, well, I guess we're talking NFL tonight.
Yeah. It's NFL time.
Not that I mind. Just a heads up on that. But we're going to talk about the NFL. The new year begins tomorrow. All the insiders are dropping all the links, so we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's happening. We're also going to address what's going to happen over the spring and summer for our program. So we'll get to all that in just a moment, but we're going to let you know firsthand to subscribe, follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required or at No Creds REQ. You can also find our other podcasts and written content at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And that includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host Podbean, Freshly Brewed Podcasts. And hit that notification bell on Twitter, on YouTube, so you know when the show goes live, when you know about show announcements, and when you know about clips of the show that go up. Or maybe, hey, I'm working on a new video for NHL trade deadlines, the low-key, under-the-radar trade deadlines that made the biggest difference and helped teams win the Stanley Cup. So I'm working on that, putting a script together. Hopefully I'll have it by trade deadline. Actually, I won't have it by trade deadline, but I'll have it by the end of this month.
Excellent. Will you express your thoughts on a third Connor joining Edmonton?
Yay. good for the
That's probably not I don't know if it's under the radar. I don't know if it's under the radar to make your script, but let me say, sir, while I have the moment,
we'll find out soon enough.
You did a great job on your rental, your Gretzky rental trade breakdown, because I watched it. And I encourage you to do so if you are like me and you forgot that trade ever happened. Because I always thought he went straight in my head canon. I was like, he went from the Oilers to the Kings and then finished out with the Rangers. Au contraire. Ryan's here to break down what actually happened.
Yep, sure did. A lot, and there's actually a lot that happened that went into that happened after the trade. And I give my final grade for each team. By the way, Mike Keenan is still a cuss word in St. Louis. But we'll get to, in the meantime, rate, review, comment. Also on the podcast side, rate, review, comment. Leave a 5-star rating. Leave a review if we're on a podcast platform that allows reviews, such as our host, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podchaser. You can also comment on Spotify. Leave a comment on Spotify. Also leave a comment if you're watching this on the replay. Hit us up in the comment section. Let us know about your decision, your favorite teams. I guess you could say transition tag choice, franchise tag choice. What do you think about some of the quarterbacks going to become available, or some of the players are going to come available in free agency once the new year begins? So leave us a comment there. We're also live most Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I needed a nap today, so after I got done with work, so I'm like, Dustin, can we do it 7:30? He's like, yeah, it's fine.
It worked out. It worked out. I had to shovel snow. I had to eat. I had to take out the trash. Lots of things.
Time to take out the trash. I gotta give my flowers to my co-host here. He's always very flexible when it comes to recording times and whatnot. So thank you for being flexible. I do appreciate seeing that. But we're also live Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. Sometimes we switch it up a little bit. We record some special things happening with the World Baseball Classic that's starting this weekend. So tune in for that. But again, we love comments in the comment section. We got all sorts. We got a comment from one of your cohorts at Seahawks Sessions. We'll talk about that in a second. But we want you to go to the comment section, hit us up, be interactive with us, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and be interactive with us. And Dustin, I know we haven't heard this sound in over a week.
Man,
but
I'm ready. Whether it's later than normal or earlier than normal, it's just like Gandalf the Grey. Chime time arrives precisely when it means to.
That's right. It always does. And again, like I mentioned, comments in the comments section. Your cohort, Kevin from Seahawks Sessions, amongst other shows, saying, how about an on-air production show? How about no?
We can't let all our secrets out of the bag, Kevin.
Exactly. All right, Gandalf, keep your. He also asked Ryan, Mount Rushmore burger places. We'll save that for hot food takes. We'll bring back hot food takes at some point during the summer. Keep that in the chamber, Kevin. And he also gives us an idea of what we're going to talk about. He says that the no franchise tag on Kenneth Walker III is a smart play. We'll talk about that momentarily. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Get that out of the way. It's our network mandated commercial break from one of our great sponsors here at Belly Up Sports. When we come back, we're going to address everything, the news dump that happened in the NFL today, because we got a lot to talk about. So stick around. Stay tuned for more No Credentials Required. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. I didn't realize my volume of my computer was up. Anyway, SeatGeek. It's again one of our favorite sponsors, or one of our favorite affiliate sponsors here at Belly Up Sports. Get yourself some tickets to some great live events, including the World Baseball Classic, which we're going to be talking about next week. Stanley Cup playoffs are coming soon. Preseason baseball, minor league hockey, and I guess the NBA, if you want to punish yourself. All available on SeatGeek, SeatGeek.com. The NBA is going to hate us. I don't care. SeatGeek.com. Use their pricing tool to find the best ticket at the best prices and get $20 off your order of $50 or more with promo code BellyUpSports at checkout. Conditions apply, so make sure you look for the option where it says to use promo codes. You can use you can use that promo code in the checkout. You get $20 off your order of $50 or more. A Pizzle checking in says McCoffee. Hey, what's up, A Pizzle? He's a big Dolphin. He's from the Florida area, so he's a big Miami Dolphins fan. We always bust each other's chops when it comes to the NFL because of, obviously, his team's in the same division as mine. But we're going to talk, of course, again, we have to talk about the NFL. It has been a wild, wild day. We are on the eve of the new year starting. It starts tomorrow. Free agency tampering period goes on next Tuesday, the 10th. Free agency is going to be is Wednesday officially. So we've got a lot to talk about that happened. I would say a lot happened today, but we've also had some things happen over the last couple of days. So let's start off with the first news item I came across the wire this morning. And that is the New York Jets placing a non-exclusive franchise tag on running back Breece Hall. So what does this mean? Dustin, pop quiz. What does the non-exclusive tag mean for NFL players?
Oh man, I feel like I'm going to fail this. I feel like I'm going to fail it. But I believe what it means is that the Jets can tag him, but if any team comes along and matches or exceeds their offer, then it means that he can negotiate with said team, and the Jets can negotiate and try to make a deal. I don't think the other team has to match and or exceed it, but it means that the Jets do not have exclusive rights to Breece Hall should that happen.
Okay, so non-exclusive tag, as explained by Adam Schefter on Twitter. Basically, what the non-exclusive tag is that the Jets have the right to match an offer sheet from another team. Now, if the Jets choose not to sign Breece Hall to a deal, as compensation, the New York Jets get not one, but 2 first-round picks.
Okay, I forgot about the compensation there.
That's okay. That's okay. You get partial credit for knowing.
Yeah, I mean, well, the example that I remember is the Vikings used this to pry something similar, because I remember there was an offer sheet and a poison pill clause. The Vikings used that to pry Steve Hutchinson away from the Seahawks. And then a year later, the Seahawks used that to get Nate Burleson from the Vikings. Although, no disrespect to Nate, Seahawks lost out on that one.
Sounds like a man who had a little bit of swallowing a little bitter pill from that. But yes, the New York Jets use the franchise tag, and I'll say this as a New York Jets fan, we saw this coming. We saw this coming. We were talking about this in the preseason. All right, this is how far back we're talking about this. One or the other. It's either the Jets were going to extend Breece Hall to a nice fat contract. He rushed for over 1,000 yards this past season, so that was really nice. Or they were going to franchise tag him because they didn't have the money right now. But the books, they get cleared starting tomorrow. So you see a lot of free agents, a lot of veteran players who have big contracts. They're going to be either restructuring contracts so they can bring in potential free agents, or they're going to be outright released. So I believe this franchise tag was a little less than $15 million, which is actually convenient because of the Jermaine Johnson trade. We'll talk about that momentarily. But they get to keep Breece Hall at least right now. They get to keep Breece Hall. They got Isaiah Davis coming back in the offseason. So after his nasty injury that happened on Monday night in Miami, but which means going to have running back depth. But if you're a team that is looking to add a franchise running back in the offseason, and Lord knows there's another one that's going to be available, is it worth taking the risk giving up 2 first-round picks to sign Breece Hall, in your opinion, Dustin?
I don't think so, because I had forgotten about the 2 first-round picks, and I knew, and because no disrespect to Breece, and I can't remember how old Breece is. I might have to do some real-time research.
I'll do it for you.
But it's funny because this morning, Kevin, Dan, and I, we have a Twitter thread where we talk to each other, and we talked about, and we're going to get what's going on with the Super Bowl MVP. Wow. We're going to get to it on this show. But I said, should the Jets not hang on to Breece Hall, what do you think about bringing him into Seattle? And then we were just kind of walking it back and forth, and lo and behold, if everything Schefter broke this morning is to be believed, the Jets fully intend to extend him. They are using this as a placeholder, quote unquote. Yep. But is his age, is he north of 28, Ryan?
No,
Okay.
he's only
Okay.
24.
Okay, he's 24. I thought he was going to be
Yeah.
closer to like 26, 27.
Yeah, he turns 25 on May 31st.
Okay. Brees, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the Jets fan here among us. You are the expert, but his injury history is part of the reason why I said, hey, maybe you take a look at Brees Hall. And his talent is obvious. And I think the Seahawks offensive line is pretty good now. So I was salivating at the possibility of Brees running in the Pacific Northwest. But I think Brees has stayed relatively healthy. And okay, his age changes things a little bit, but I still don't think the combination of having to give up the 2 picks and also the money that you are going to, because the Jets didn't, by non-exclusive franchise tagging him, they didn't throw peanuts at Brees Hall.
No.
He got a nice paycheck for this season. And then any team would have to match or exceed that. They would have to go over that offer to entice Brees Hall, and then the Jets would have an opportunity to match it. So no, I don't think, even though he's younger than I thought he was, I don't think it's worth it.
So he doesn't have a long injury list. Like, he tore his ACL in his rookie season. So that was the only significant injury that he's had. So that he didn't really miss time. He did have some knee issues this season. He didn't play in week 18. I mean, it was obvious he wasn't going to play in week 18. He already got his 1,000 yards. He got finished with 1,065 yards this year. But he was also provided in 2023. He had in 2024. I mean, we all know what happened in 2024 with that awful, awful, awful offense orchestrated by Nathaniel Hackett. Stay out of New York.
Oh, the gold zone.
Oh, the gold zone. Pretty sure Scott Hansen has a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
But right now, with the franchise tag, Brees Hall is actually the second highest paid running back in the NFL. It's $14.293 million. That's his tag. So he's gonna get his cash. I think when this is over, I think he's gonna get a new contract. I think we're trying to figure out what they're gonna do in free agency, because quarterback's gonna be an issue. I think they're gonna work on bringing in some linebackers, because they're switching to a 3-4 from a 4-3 scheme. They're switching to a 3-4, which prompted the Jermaine Johnson trade. Again, we're coming back to that in a second. But again, the Jermaine Johnson trade enabled the Jets to put the franchise tag on Brees Hall. And as of this recording, Saquon Barkley is currently making $16.75 million per year. I think Brees Hall's looking to become the highest paid running back in the league, justifiably so. But a lot of that money is going to come with a lot of promise, because they've got a new offensive coordinator. Frank Reich is the new offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Yes, you heard me correct. That all happened during the Olympics, during the Olympic break, where they're interviewing for offensive coordinator position. So if Frank Reich's going to run the offense, they're going to look to go away from what they did last year with, I wouldn't say the ground and pound scheme, but they're going to look for ways to give the ball to Brees Hall, give the ball to. Sorry, it wasn't Isaiah Davis. It was Braylon Allen. Sorry,
Braylon Allen. I couldn't think. I could think was Braylon Edwards, and I'm like, I know that's not right.
Braylon Edwards. That's the name I haven't heard in a long time.
Man, the Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out.
Obi-Wan, Gandalf, all the wizards coming out today.
Yeah,
they're coming out to play. But yeah, I think Brees Hall is going to get himself a nice contract at the end of this, and again, that contract is going to have to come with a lot of promise, and he's going to have to live up to that expectation. I've said since he was drafted, he has the potential to become a 1,000 running back in terms of 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. He could join that exclusive club. There's only currently 3 members of that club. Roger Craig. FYI, congratulations to Roger Craig for finally getting in the Hall of Fame, nod. Marshall Faulk, Christian McCaffrey. And I still believe Brees Hall has the potential to become member number 4 in that club.
Wow. Wow. See, you would know more than me. And I think Brees's talent, I think, has kind of been hampered by the way the team has looked around him. I think people kind of forget how good he is. And I'm going to use this example, and I'm sorry, Uncle Al. I see you in the chat. I don't want to bring this up. But the Giants offensive line, Saquon Barkley, people forgot how good he was because of the ineptitude of the Giants offensive line. There were huge runs that Saquon broke off, but Saquon, we saw how he was coming off that injury in the first year for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think should the offense take a leap under Frank Reich, and I think Frank Reich, he was the best of what was left, Ryan. I really think so. As far as OC, I think he's a decent pick. And I think Brees Hall has the opportunity to remind people, hey, you forget about me? Watch this.
Yeah. Speaking of your Uncle Al, he's in the chat. He's saying, I remember in the NHL, this is how the Avalanche were able to hang on to Joe Sakic. Yeah, because he was going to head to the Rangers, and Al being a Rangers fan, that was going to be a super team that was absolutely crazy, but the Avalanche snuck in. And that's how the Devils retained Patrick Elias from the New York Rangers. They used a franchise tag to hang on to Patrick Elias, and he was a New Jersey Devil for life. So, and now Joe Sakic is the general manager of the aforementioned Colorado Avalanche. He also says, I hate that I completely agree with you. All right. So our next big our next player we're going to profile, it happened today. Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati Bengals, did not place either a transition tag or a franchise tag on edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. He is now an unrestricted free agent. Dustin?
That defense.
Go ahead. I was going to ask you a question, but go ahead.
Oh, man. That defense in Cincinnati will be real bad. Okay. We obviously, we don't know. Maybe they have plans to revamp it. Maybe this indicates they're going to try to hang on to Joe Burrow. They're going to try to, who knows? Who knows what they are planning? But I remind you all, Bengals fans, and I'm sorry, Mike Brown is cheap. But Trey Hendrickson, he is, I'm going to look it up because we looked it up at one point and I cannot remember, but this is the Bengals are going in the all offense direction by this. I mean, this is, what are they going to do to let him go? Because he will draw interest. He will draw interest for sure. He is 31 years old. I thought he was 30.
I thought he was younger.
But. Yeah, he is. He's one of those people where it's surprising because I thought he was younger too, Ryan. But this is one of the reasons the market won't be as high for him because he's not in his prime football wise, but he will still have a lot of suitors because a couple seasons ago, he was the leading pass rusher in the NFL.
Yes.
This shocked me because he was all the Bengals had on defense, and they are not. If they hang on to Geno Stone after they and they let, I mean, the Cincinnati fans are not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy.
Nope. But he made $29 million this past season. So they didn't franchise tag him. He was a holdout. He wanted a bigger contract. But prior to, I didn't realize this. Maybe I've just forgotten, or my brain has kind of had a brain fart. He was actually drafted by the Saints.
Oh man!
And the Saints let him walk in free agency back in after the 2020 season. Signed with the Bengals. Bengals gave him an extension in 2023, and then he held out for more money in the preseason. Held out. Didn't go to training camp, and all of a sudden, the Bengals said, no, "How about a nice little bump in pay?" Because he was already getting $21 million per season, and they bumped up gave him a nice little $8 million raise.
Man,
and he made 29 mil this. He made 29 million this past season. So I have to ask. I know the Seahawks pass rush was deadly this year. Was especially in the late in the season when they went on that run. They were an absolute wagon. Do you think John Schneider is going to make a call to Trey Hendrickson and say, "Hey, we just won the Super Bowl. You want to help you want to win a Super Bowl with us? Let's make this and help our pass rush become deadlier than it already is."
I think for sure he has to. If he is the reigning executive of the year, John Schneider would not be good at his job if he did not make such a call. If he is not inquiring, because there's rumblings out there, and you got to take everything you read on the internet with a grain of salt. But apparently, he has been interested in Mason Crosby, and we know that he did try to make overtures to Pete Carroll last year, Pete Carroll and the Raiders, to obtain Crosby. Apparently, they're trying to do it again. He has made calls inquiring about Crosby, given the option between the two, because I believe Max Crosby. Geez, that was a slip of the tongue. I believe Max Crosby is a little bit younger than Trey Hendrickson. But if you are John Schneider, you have to, because you would have to give up something to get Crosby. Hendrickson is a free agent now. So, yeah, John Schneider has to be reaching out to him along with anybody in the NFL. Lord help me, if Hendrickson goes to the Chiefs, I know they would love to bolster their pass rush. The Steelers, he seems like a Steelers proto pick, although with Pittsburghian Mike McCarthy, no relation to you, Ryan. Who knows if they're going to change their philosophy a little bit.
The heel move would be to go to Cleveland.
Oh, man.
Such a heel move to stick it in Mike Brown.
Oh, man, to team up with Miles.
Or the Ravens.
Yeah.
Anybody in the AFC North
would
be a heel move, and I would just like, well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Another one of your cohorts from Seahawks Sessions is in the chat. Mr. Dan Cruz saying, say his name and he appears. Hold on. I don't have the satin button-down shirt. He also says Hendrickson. We've talked about Trey Hendrickson in hindsight would be cheaper, though. Yes, because Max Crosby is currently, his cap hit for 2026 is $35.8 million.
Yeah, because he got that extension. Oof.
It would also cost you at least 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Hendrickson, you're about to say something. Go ahead.
Come up to Seattle. Come on. Lawrence was great last year, and he's north of 30. Come on up.
There you go. All right. Next on the list, Kyler Murray to be released. Asterisk. Arizona Cardinals have said that they will release quarterback Kyler Murray on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. And I put the asterisk because it says if he is not going to be traded. So basically what it is that Kyler Murray, unless he's traded to another team before Wednesday, he will be released and his contract will be on the books of the Arizona Cardinals. Yikes. So the Kyler Murray experience in Arizona will be over, which is, I guess you could say, it's sad. It's kind of sad.
It is.
In a way. And I'll tell you why. Because he was number 1 pick in the draft in 2018. Number 1 pick in the draft, showed potential, showed all sorts of promise, led the Cardinals to the playoffs a couple times, had that wild Hail Mary throw to DeAndre Hopkins in 2020 to beat the Bills, went to the playoffs in 2021, had that infamous interception against the Rams, and just his career has seemed to spiral from there. injury prone. He's more injury prone. He got hurt. He got hurt trying to recover a fumble against the Titans this past year, and he had been out He had been out since that game, and he had the feeling, all right, what's going to happen with Jonathan Gannon, the head coach, Mr. Arms Crossed. He's crossing his arms, and he's now crossing his arms on, I believe, San Francisco. But you had to wonder after that injury, is Kyler Murray going to be gone? Is he going to have to go? Is he going to go somewhere else after this season? So it looks like the answer is yes. Looks like the Kyler Murray experience, the Kyler Murray era, is going to be over in Glendale. Dustin, what are your thoughts?
Man, this one, somebody will sign Kyler. That is easy. Somebody's going to sign him.
Stay away from him, Aaron Glenn.
Well, here's the thing, and that's exactly so. I said the Jets should not do this. We were talking about it on the Saturday edition of BS Sessions, which has taken the place of Seahawks Sessions since we're in the offseason right now. But I want to get your perspective as a Jets fan, because the Jets already tried this with Justin Fields. To me, Kyler Murray can make more throws than Justin Fields can. But other than that, they are very similar quarterbacks. So, this is just, he's been linked. There have been rumblings that the Vikings may try to bring him in to compete to compete with JJ McCarthy out there. There have been rumblings. I think if because the Raiders, do you bring Kyler Murray in as a potential bridge for number 1 overall pick projected Fernando Mendoza? Do you give Mendoza, because Brady's an old school guy, Tom Brady, he knows what it's like to sit on the bench and learn. He did it behind Drew Bledsoe. We all know the story from there. But could it happen? But I mean, Ryan, what would be your reaction if the Jets tried this? Because to me, it would just be Justin Fields 2.0 repeating with a different offensive scheme and a better arm than Justin Fields.
You see that jersey? You see that signed photo? They will be gone.
Oh,
they will be gone. Honestly,
man.
There were points last season where I reached my breaking point as a Jets fan. And of course, this week at the Combine, we saw that footage of Aaron Glenn falling asleep.
In his defense, the Combine is kind of like, you're watching how high guys can jump and how big of a bench press. Very little of it transfers over to football.
True. And the Underwear Olympics is the most pointless event ever, but it's mostly for the NFL Network. It's always mostly for. It's there to drive content to drive viewers to the network. That's pretty much it.
And it's also for an NFL networking event, because this is where, if you think that talks about free agency and potential trades don't start at the Combine when everybody sees each other in person, you're out of your mind.
Your Uncle Al saying, calling it now, Raiders or Jets. Al, you shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Praying against it. Just saging the room. Throwing holy water. All that stuff. And he also says, I heard the Combine, John Harbaugh ran a 4.640. As opposed to Brian Dable running a sub-7 because of chicken wings and a beer at the end.
Yeah. Oh, man, Ryan, you know what just hit me like a crazy person? What if, I had it and I lost it. A team for Kyler Murray to go to. You think they would take a shot at him, but I can't remember who I had. It was somebody on the tip of my tongue.
What division?
I lost it.
What division?
I'm trying to remember, because I felt like I know. I just had it and I lost it because I'm like, who would take? Oh, I got it again. The Miami Dolphins.
Oh God!
You think because Tua's gone from Miami, right? But
not officially yet. Not officially yet.
Well, yeah, but then they have Quinn Ewers on the roster, and you got their GM saying all options are on the table or something like that. Kyler Murray to the Miami Dolphins. I could see Stephen Ross making that move and then mispronouncing his GM's and coach's name.
John Eric Sullivan. Sully! It's not Eric E-R-I-C. It's Eric E-R-I-K. Oh. Your uncle with the zinger. Kyler Murray has to be on someone's short list.
Hey, man.
And Wonko saying Kyler Murray to the Browns would be hilarious.
Oh, man.
Yikes.
I could see Andrew doing that.
All right. Our next one, I'm going to defer to Dustin on this one. The Seattle Seahawks, Kenneth Walker Jr., Super Bowl most valuable player, Kenneth Walker III. Seattle Seahawks did not place either the franchise or transition tag on him, so he is set to be an unrestricted free agent next week. And your cohort from Seahawks Sessions, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he says no franchise tag on Walker is the smart play. I defer to you as the local Seahawks fan. Dustin, what are your thoughts about the Seahawks not placing either tag on Kenneth Walker III?
So here's the thing. As much as this pains me, because I loved Kenneth Walker when he is healthy, and that's a big when.
Mm-hmm.
His talent is electric on the field, but there's a couple of things that in a Mike McDonald / John Schneider led team that hurt him, pun not intended there, is that he could not stay healthy. And it was evident if you watched enough Seahawks games in the beginning of the year. They were trying to make, people were saying, oh, it's going to be a running back by committee in Seattle. They were trying to make Zach Charbonnet the starter. They were trying to do it. They were using Charbonnet more. It was only after Kenneth Walker was too electric with the ball in his hands that you finally started to see Kenneth Walker get the edge and carries mid-season and into the end of the season. It was clear because of Sharp's downhill running style. They like that more because Kenneth Walker was going north-south to start the year, because if he bounces the ball, he's shifty. If he bounces the ball to the outside, he's electric. But I agree with Kevin here. It's the smart play because he is coming off the Super Bowl MVP. The way that he finished the season, he is commanding interest from other teams. It would be very expensive for the Seahawks to keep him, and they have cap space. They are clearly going after another big fish at other positions. And if Charbonnet comes back healthy somewhat at running back next year, it'll be okay. They have George Hawani on the roster, and they like to take running backs in the draft, but clearly they have something planned. But because of Kenneth Walker's health and his lack of ability to stay healthy, I agree with them, even though I am sad. He is fun to watch, and provided he can stay healthy, he's going to make somebody very happy next year because he is shifty with the ball in his hands.
Wonko asking, what kind of an organization would pay? He clarifies himself. He corrects himself. Running back. He said quarterback, but he meant running back. What kind of an organization would pay a running back $14 million? Well, according to Spot Track, Saquon Barkley is making close to $17 million, and Breece Hall is going to make something a little bit more than $14 million with the franchise tag. I think it's going to be, if Kenneth Walker lands somewhere other than Seattle, and there's two teams I have in mind that may come after him: Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, okay.
Vikings need a running back in the worst way, and it showed last season. Aaron Jones, again, God love him, he ain't it. He's not the number one guy. If the Vikings don't go after a running back like Kenneth Walker in free agency, I think they're going to make a play for Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, who had an incredible combine this past weekend. But but I still think Kenneth Walker, and this is to ease your mind a little bit there, Dustin. I think with the cap space that the Seahawks have, I believe they're still fifth in cap space amongst teams this year or in the offseason. I think they're going to wind up keeping him. And I'm sorry, they're sixth. They're sixth currently.
Okay. I mean, we will see. We will see, because John Schneider, he usually doesn't extend players, and I get it. Each position is different, but look at DK. DK did not get the extension that he wanted. Instead, they worked out a trade for DK. They don't typically, Schneider did not extend receivers, and he did not do it, by my memory, at the running back position very often. So we will see what happens here.
All right, moving quickly along, our next player to spotlight, Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones. Daniel Jones, the Indianapolis Colts put the transition tag on him. So again, it's the same situation as Breece Hall. I don't know. I don't know if there's a difference between transition tag and franchise tag of non-exclusive or not for Daniel Jones. But again, like a team with transition tag, like a team in the franchise tag, the Indianapolis Colts have first rights to match any offer that comes his way. He signed a 1-year deal in the offseason to be in Indianapolis. Started the year off really great. Indianapolis Colts had a really great first half of the season, and then the wheels fell off. He wound up not only breaking his leg, his fibula, but then he also tore his Achilles tendon. So we don't know if he decides to sign with the Colts, if he decides to come back as a Colt quarterback next season. We don't know where he's going to play. So is it a risk to take a chance on re-signing Daniel Jones? Sure. But you've also got Riley Leonard, who played really well in that final game of the season in Week 18 against the Texans, when the Texans had a chance to win the division still. But at the same time, you got a veteran like Daniel Jones, who, under the right conditions, under the right system, with a running back behind him to do running back things like Jonathan Taylor did last season, for the first part of last season. We talked about him being an MVP candidate. He's also got Pierce. He's also got Tyler Warren who's emerging, who's going to be, I think he's going to have a spectacular 2026. But they need to still do some work on the defensive side. They lost some guys. Brenston Buckner has considered retirement because of his neck issues. Offensive line, they need some help. So is he worth keeping? Is Daniel Jones worth keeping as an Indianapolis Colts quarterback?
I think so. And I think it does, because Daniel to me, he did have that good year with the Giants, which then parlayed Joe Shane, a too many Uncrustables, decided to give him that massive contract. But I think he's proven enough between that year of the Giants. This Colts year did a lot to exercise his demons, I think. And I think he was playing with a renewed confidence, because let's not forget, he spent a little bit of time in Minnesota with a coach that is becoming known for fixing quarterback ails. He did it with Sam Darnold. He made Josh Dobbs look good the 1 year as a Viking spot starter. Kevin O'Connell knows what to do with quarterbacks. But the thing is, the other thing that signals to me that the Colts either A, believe in Riley Leonard, or B, they're thinking that Daniel Jones is going to come back sooner than expected, or it's a combination of the two. They're letting Anthony Richardson seek a trade. They have given permission. They're pretty much giving up on the Anthony Richardson experiment. So that to me says that they believe in what they've got in Riley Leonard, and they think Daniel Jones was the real deal last year, and he's gonna come along earlier than we expect here. So I think it's worth it to do this. And let me just commend, because I spent a lot of time last year waiting for Daniel Jones to turn into a pumpkin, and he didn't. And he played on a broken leg for a few games. Okay, he more than proved something to me last year.
Yeah, he did. Your uncle's saying he can hand off to Jonathan Taylor like nobody's business.
Uncle Al will never acknowledge Daniel Jones. He's angry. I don't blame him. Joe Shane should have never given him that contract.
No, he shouldn't have. All right, moving on. Our next news item, I guess you can say this is a pretty shocking announcement.
Yeah.
Drew Dalman, center for the Chicago Bears, has informed the team that he will retire. Now, I guess from whatever indication, according to news reports, I'm looking at ESPN. He didn't explain why he was retiring, but he was signed from the Atlanta Falcons in the last offseason, signed a 3-year, $42 million contract with the Bears. Started all 17 games, was part of, I guess you could say he was that was a pretty decent offensive line last year for the Chicago Bears. They signed Joe Thuney, they bring in Joe Thuney, they bring in Jonah Jackson, then they brought in Dalman. Both he and Thuney both earned Pro Bowl honors. It was the first time that Dalman got a Pro Bowl nod. So I guess this doesn't leave a hole for the Bears, but Dalman's he's in his early 20s. He's 27.
Yeah, he's 27. Yeah,
only 27. Now, are we starting to see a trend? Now, this isn't the only new Chicago Bears news we have. I forgot to make a graphic for it, but Tremaine Edmonds has been granted permission to seek a trade from the Chicago Bears. So I guess we could ask this question about Dalman. Are we starting to see a trend, especially with the offensive lineman? Are we starting to see a trend now? Is he going to be the trendsetter in terms of retiring at an earlier age, especially for an offensive lineman?
I think he could. I think he could, and he may feel, hey, I've earned my money, and maybe, I don't know if he has a family. I'd have to look that up, or maybe he wants to start a family, or maybe he's looking ahead. I mean, we've gone over it a bunch of times on this show, Ryan. The offensive and defensive line meet in the trenches with the force of a car crash. So
yep.
I can't blame a guy for wanting to hang it up. He figures, hey, I've been through enough car crashes. I've made my money. I've proven what I can prove in the game. I proved I can hang. He wants to do it with the hardware. Maybe that's what drives a lot of players, but he might say, hey, last year was a great season. I want to go out on a high note. I want to go out while I can still move around. And maybe he's got other goals in life. I mean, Andrew Luck famously left a lot of money on the table, and a lot of players tried to bring him out of retirement. I think the Miami Dolphins tried multiple times.
Washington Commanders tried.
Yeah. So
and Jim Irsay, God rest his soul, he accused the Commanders of collusion, of trying to draw him out. Yeah. Funny you say Andrew Luck and Stanford, because Drew Dalman went to Stanford. Yeah. So maybe he wants to save his. Wondering, I have to wonder. I'm not going to say he's got concussion issues, but maybe he's worried about the concussion issues. And Stanford is a very good school. Wonko saying, what does Drew Dalman have against Indiana?
Oh man, that's a huge oof.
Oh my goodness.
Boy,
Chicago Bears moving to Indiana. Oh man. Now I won't have to hear the jokes anymore about the New York Jets play in New Jersey. The Chicago Bears play in Indiana, or going to be playing in Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, man, this is crazy, but and it seems to have a lot more smoke, because the first thing I thought when I saw that, I was like, oh, remember when Al Davis was going to move the Raiders to Irwindale? Okay. I was like, this won't happen, but I don't know. This is getting a little crazy.
The city of Chicago and the state of Illinois is broke.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our next one. open to trade. The Minnesota Vikings have stated that they are open to trading edge rusher Jonathan Greenard to relieve cap space. Now, Greenard, uh, not a great season last year. Only had 3 sacks, played in 12 games. It was an injury. He had some injury issues, but he has been known to be a ferocious. My God, I can't talk. Ferocious pass rusher. Before he came over to the Vikings last season, he had 12 and a half sacks with Houston, and he had 12 sacks in 2024 with the Minnesota Vikings. Only 3 sacks this year. Had some injury issues. Vikings need some cap space. So if there's any teams out there looking for an effective pass rusher, you're going to have to look at Jonathan Greenard, excuse me. It's going to cost you, though. It's going to cost you. So I was going to say pose this question to you, Dustin, and I'll pose it to myself too. If team like your Seattle Seahawks or my New York Jets swing and miss on Trey Hendrickson, would you want to look at Jonathan Greenard as a potential pass rusher for your team?
Yeah, I think so. Because you could use that down year as leverage. You could say, well, he only had 3 sacks last year. What's wrong? Because the Vikings defense, people don't realize it. They were a stout unit last year, especially towards the late in the season. They got after people. So maybe if you're a shrewd negotiator, you could say, hey, what's the deal? But yeah, I think and this is no disrespect to Mr. Grenard or Greenard. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. It could be Grenard.
Yeah, I don't know. But no disrespect, but if somebody swing and misses on the Trey Hendrickson sweepstakes, I think he's a good consolation prize for sure.
Now, here's the thing. Greenard or Grenard.
Yeah, I don't know.
3-4 guy. Guess who's switching over? Guess who's transitioning to a 3-4 defense in this season? That's right. Jets. The New York Jets. So if you have him on one side, you have Will McDonald II or Will McDonald Jr. on the other side of the ball, and Tavondre Sweat as their nose tackle. I mean, Jets have the cap space to do it. So we'll see. Speaking of the Jets, we finally come to that point. Actually, no, we got one more thing before we move on to the trades. The 2 trades that happened while we were gone. The Kansas City Chiefs will be releasing Jawan Taylor, right tackle Jawan Taylor. He will be released after tomorrow, and he is set to become a free agent. Now, Jawan Taylor, not a terrible tackle. It was traded from he was selected originally as a Jacksonville Jaguar, traded to Kansas City a couple seasons ago. Spent the last couple of seasons with them, has a Super Bowl ring, but big problem, penalties.
Oh.
If I remember correctly, he was the most penalized right tackle in the NFL this past season. But is the risk, if you're looking for depth, is the risk worth the reward?
This is the thing. And I feel like in the NFL will give you chance after chance after chance if you have talent, which clearly he made the roster and was a starter for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's got talent. He can play in this league. Somebody's going to feel like they can correct the penalty issue. So I think somebody's going to view this as worth it if they are looking to upgrade their offensive line. I don't know if I'd want to do it. I've been through plenty of Seahawk offensive lines that were heavily penalized. It really hampers you. But if somebody can get that under control, I think somebody's going to look at him and say, "I can fix that," and they'll do it.
Yeah, he had 10 penalties, committed 10 penalties this year, which doesn't seem a lot, but in a 17 game season, that's again a little risky. I don't know if some of them were holding penalties, false start. I have to say this though, during the 2023 season when the Jets played the Chiefs on Sunday night, and I would see Juwan Taylor hit that hold on Jermaine Johnson that it didn't get called, which enabled Patrick Mahomes to run for 20 yards and get a first down on a 3rd and long. And it's like, oh, come on, why'd you call on them? But I guess the NFL referees caught up. All right, 2 more news items. Then we got to go to our plans for the summer and the spring. Finally, we're coming back to it. The trade. Well, 1-for-1, which a very rare thing to happen in the NFL, but 1-for-1. The New York Jets trade edge rusher Jermaine Johnson to the Tennessee Titans for nose tackle T'Vondre Sweat. I have some thoughts.
All right. Expound, my friend.
All right. So when I first saw this trade, I said to myself, why? Jermaine Johnson was due for an extension. Former first-round pick, part of that 2022 magical class, the one draft class that Joe Douglas nailed. Between Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall. Those are your first 4 picks and in the first 35 that in that free agent. Tore his Achilles in 2024, interestingly enough, in Tennessee in week 2. It's tough for an edge rusher to come back from that injury and become effective, but this reunites him with Robert Saleh, had his best seasons under Robert Saleh in 2022 and 2023 before tearing his Achilles in 2024. Robert Saleh is back as head coach in Tennessee. So Tennessee's going to get themselves an effective pass rusher. Meanwhile, for the Jets, again, they're moving to a 3-4 scheme. Nose tackle, run defense was a huge issue last year. And one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. And with the new 3-4 scheme, or the 3-4 scheme, Sweat's going to play in the middle. He's an effective run stopper. I saw some tape by Brian Baldinger. He puts on Twitter. He put some tape on there, and T'Vondre Sweat, you're going to have a really tough time moving him. So I think this is a good move. It clears some cap space, like I mentioned, which enabled the Jets to put the franchise tag on Breece Hall. He gets his $14 million. I believe it was $13.4 million as Jermaine Johnson's salary going to Tennessee. So that clears some cap space. Breece Hall got the transition tag. They can find a way to extend him. And maybe they'll go looking either in the draft or in free agency for a pass rusher to replace Jermaine Johnson on that left-hand side. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts about it. Like I said, initially I was shocked, but then I said to myself, well, wait a second. Let's see how this works out. Because again, just rush defense was awful last season.
Yeah, and you know what? On the other side, I feel like maybe this is Robert Saleh trading for a player that he knows well from their time in New York, and he's trying to get some talent on that Titans roster. So,
yeah. All right, and our final news item before we move on to our next segment, another trade that happened yesterday, and we have a certain member of our audience who's sad. Cool. She's got the sads. The David Montgomery Knuckles has been traded from the Detroit Lions to the Houston Texans for offensive lineman Juice Scruggs. Great name, by the way. Yeah. And a 5th round pick in this season's draft. I have a couple thoughts on this, but I want to get your thoughts on this first, Dustin. What are your thoughts on this particular trade? Which team does it help the most?
I think honestly, initially because I didn't see the compensation in there, right. And I initially thought that I was like, wow, the Texans won this trade, but with the extra compensation in there, I don't know. I think this is a push. This is 2 teams filling needs for themselves, and because I think a Detroit Lions, they had issues on the offensive line. Ragnow tried to come out of retirement last year. He failed the physical. And then I think I read that another lineman announced he was going to retire, but I can't remember who it was if it was for the Lions or not. But clearly, Jahmyr Gibbs had eclipsed David Montgomery in this backfield. They created a great 1-2 punch for a couple of seasons, but it was clear that Montgomery was taking a back seat. I think he was disgruntled with that. I think he wanted a bigger role. And the Texans, we went over their troubles at running back in great detail last year. This is a need that they needed to fill. They needed to help CJ Stroud and get someone who could run the ball in there. And I just have another question. Joe Mixon, what happened? They got to do a 30 for 30 on this or something.
They've got a loaded locker room right now in the running back room, because if I go to their roster right now, in their depth chart, they actually have David Montgomery on ESPN.com. They have David Montgomery as the number 1 running back, with number 2 at Woody Marks, followed by Joe Mixon, followed by Nick Chubb. That is a loaded running back room. They're going to have to do some really nifty cap work, or maybe they trade Joe Mixon. Maybe they trade. I know Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb had a 1-year contract, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check on that real quick. But Woody Marks is still under a rookie deal. He'll be that way for a bit, so he won't count a whole lot against the cap. But that is a loaded running back room right now.
Yeah.
And yes, I was right. It is a 1-year deal. He is set to be an unrestricted free agent. So I think you're right. The Texans made a pretty good choice, but at the same time, we talked about their offensive line last year and how, look, in the playoffs, even against the Steelers, they were still letting defensemen go right by them. And they need to do some shoring up. Maybe they'll do it in free agency. Maybe they'll do it in the draft. So, which is why it was interesting to see them move Juice Scruggs to Detroit. But I guess Detroit needed the offensive line help more than the Texans initially did. So we'll have to see. All right, we're going to close out the show. Let you know what our plans are for recording for the spring and the summer. So, as I said, top of the show, Dustin and I had an off-air production meeting on Saturday. Shout out to the factory down in Boston Spa, one of my favorite places to go. Great food, great beer. And we were able to have our meeting while watching some hockey and just hanging out. So this is what's going to happen this spring and summer. Our recording for March and April is going to be staggered. And I say this is because what we're going to do is that we're going to have our podcast recordings. That's going to be staggered because we're going to be working on our movie series for the summer, which will be set to air in August. So we've got our 8 movies, 4 no ticket required. And if I bring up my calendar, I can tell you what they are. So these are the movies we're going to be reviewing this summer. Or they'll be in the can for this summer. It's going to start off with, Any Given Sunday. Then we're going to go to Basketball, followed by Cool Runnings. Our 4th movie will be Friday Night Lights. We'll also be reviewing Queen of the Ring, Field of Dreams. What was this? Cinderella Man. Had to open it up real quick. And finally, our last recording will be Blades of Glory. So those are the 8 movies we're recording this for no ticket required. And again, our podcast and live shows will be staggered, at least in March. We're going to be doing some live shows, and some of them will have to wait a week, or they'll be the next week. Only one show per week. So we want to give that heads up. We'll also be doing some express editions on social media only from time to time. I guess I mentioned we're talking about the World Baseball Classic. We'll be reviewing the World Baseball Classic starting on Saturday. Actually, play starts tomorrow.
That's crazy to me.
I didn't realize play starts tomorrow. I actually got to subscribe to Fox One so I can watch or at least try to catch some of the games. But Saturdays will feature our friend of the show, Brent Radlinsky from the 1420 podcast. I'll make sure that he make sure to remind him that silver shines just as bright.
Oh man, we can't get on Brent about that, man.
So we're not going to give him a stuffy for participating. I'm kidding. We love Brent. He's a great guy. He's also a big Yankee fan. On weekdays, we're going to be having our friend Drew Willingham, D. Willie from Sotoba Media, be part of our World Baseball Classic coverage. And we're going to have a bonus episode. We're going to have an express episode next Wednesday, the 11th, with tentatively our friend from the Corner Booth podcast, Jared. He's going to be joining us to talk about all the big free agent signings that are going to be dropping on Wednesday because tampering period starts on Tuesday. We'll have a live show that Saturday, then another live show that Monday. It will be the preview of the World Baseball Classic Championship, which will be going on Tuesday. So you're going to want to tune in on Monday, the 16th. That'll be a 6:30 p.m. start. But then, again, starting that week, we will be doing only one show a week. Actually, the rest of the week, this week of the 16th, we're only going to be live that Monday because we'll be recording No Ticket Required. We're doing 2 shows, and then we'll be 3 shows for No Ticket Required. Then we'll be back the following Saturday, the 28th. And starting Saturday, the 28th, we're going to be covering exclusively the New York Yankees. Yes. Hold on. I've got it right here. We're going to be covering for the entire baseball season. We're going to be covering. Dang it. I can't find it now. Hang on. There it is. We're going to be covering these guys.
New York Yankees?
The New York Yankees!
Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Costanza?
That's right, folks. Instead of concentrating on entirety of baseball this year, last year we got a little bit in the weeds with that. So we're both Yankees fans. We're going to concentrate exclusively on the New York Yankees, and that'll start in late March. Then we'll go to one podcast per week through the month of April. Be recording. Actually, no, we'll be going 2 shows. One show the week of the 29th of April 29th or March 29th, excuse me. April, one podcast on Easter week. Actually, 2 shows on Easter week. One show the week of the 13th. One live show the week of the 13th, excuse me. One live show the week of the 19th. One live show the week of the 26th. And we go into 2 shows in May. Only one show the week of the 17th because Dustin will be away, is taking some time off. So we're only doing one show that week. We're coming back the following Memorial Day weekend. And then we'll be doing 2 shows until July. And actually we'll be doing only one. No, sorry. We'll be doing 2 shows a week from in June into July. And then the entire month of August, we're taking August off, and our No Ticket Required episodes will be on our YouTube channel.
They will air so that we can recharge our batteries before the madness and the craziness of the NFL season.
That's right. And there's another reason why we're doing this schedule is because I am prospectively looking to go back to school and to earn my master's. I actually got an acceptance notice today from my alma mater where I earned my bachelor's degree. But I'm still kind of deciding what my major for my master's is going to be. So initially I've enrolled in the organizational leadership program. but I'm also tentatively looking at the communications program as well. So right now we're just this gives us more flexibility too. The schedule, getting no ticket required out of the way, doing it early, so we can enjoy our summers, our respective summers. Month of August is going to be a nice time off to just, again, recharge, get ready for the madness. Because I don't know about you, Dustin, the last 6 months, 6-7 months of the NFL, doing the entire season, it's daunting.
Yeah, it is, and for me less so, because I have to do. I don't think it's any secret. I have to do less for the show. I prep, I prepare, even though I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Everybody that loves me, everybody that hates me, I like you both. But Ryan does the back end, the production side. He puts together the show rundown. He's a lot of what makes this show go. I bring what I bring to it. I'm not going to discount that, but so for you, Ryan, it's even more of a grind. But we love doing it. But it's nice to get a rest every once in a while, especially because there are other things that both of us want to do. I think maybe if you looked at our Olympic hockey graphic, I may be starting to try to return to music. We will see what happens. I'm a slow starter.
Should I play it?
Sure.
If you missed out on our Olympic graphic, this is what it looked like.
Bum 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 bum.
God, I miss it already.
We got 4 more years. We could bust it out.
Yes.
Should we make a summer edition, Ryan? When the Summer Olympics said we could do it for 2 years.
Well, I've mentioned this in the green room. I said I got big dreams for us for 2028. I want to go to the Super Bowl. I want to do Radio Row in Atlanta. And I want to cover flag football at the Olympics in 2028.
All right.
We got some big dreams. We got some big dreams. We got some big plans ahead. So hopefully, with the future's bright for this program, and this is going to help it. So, as I also mentioned, I kind of want to get things going on the YouTube channel. I want to do some more historical videos. I really like the momentum that we've had with our most recent video about the Wayne Gretzky trade to St. Louis and all the ramifications that came from that. So I'm going to work on an NHL trade deadline video. It won't be available at the trade deadline because it's coming up pretty soon. But there's some under the radar trades that came in over the last 30 years or so. Over the last 4 decades, that have made a huge difference in the in Stanley Cup runs for several teams. So I want to talk about it. And again, we'll do our recordings, we'll do our live shows, we'll do express episodes that won't be put in the podcast. But again, podcast listeners, this is why you gotta subscribe to. This is why you gotta follow us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We'll even do the occasional Twitch stream. So you want to follow us there. So we do express episodes if something big news item comes up, or if we have watch a Yankee game, we want to talk about it, we'll do an express episode. And again, it gives us more flexibility to do that kind of stuff. So we just want to give you a heads up as to the future of the program for the spring and summer. We'll be stepping away from the highlight shows that will be on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. But you can always catch our stuff here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and in podcasts, and always on podcasts on the podcast side.
And we appreciate everyone who listens, everyone who watches every week. You are the reason that we do the show. We love doing it. We do it if nobody watched, but it helps when people watch.
Yes.
And the thing is, like Ryan said, follow our social media. We realize the schedule is going to get a little crazy. We're trying to juggle a lot of things. We're trying to be strategic about our approach with the show moving forward. If you really want to know everything that's going on, follow us on social media. We'll keep you updated, and subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, if even if we don't have shows recorded, if we only do one show a week, we'll try to do some shorts. We'll try to do some reels and put them up on social media, so we know. So you get our opinions about what's going on in baseball and football, hockey, all that stuff, and maybe we'll do some express. We'll do. You know what? Forgot to mention Stanley Cup playoffs. We gotta do an express episode of that. We gotta do an express episode of the NBA playoffs too. I know our friend of the show, Playmaker, has reached out and said, "Hey, you get an NBA guy for the NBA playoffs? Let me know." I'm like, "All right."
Oh yeah, I'm down.
We'll certainly do that. A couple more comments before we get out of here. Your Uncle Al saying USA versus Brazil on ESPN Friday. That's going to be USA team. I gotta say, Aaron Judge, not the most charismatic speaker, but the fact that they're drawing inspiration from the USA hockey team to try to win the World Baseball Classic is awesome. I love it. I dig it. And Waka is saying, thank you guys. Great stuff. Congrats, Ryan, on heading back to school. Hopefully you earn your Jedi robe. Only if the council will let me.
What color's your lightsaber, Ryan?
Probably green.
All right, the classic green. I like it. I'm gonna take my Kyber crystal and hope it comes out blue. Everybody.
Hey, there you go. Be Seahawks blue.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, we're just gotta remind you again. Follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Just search No Credentials Required or at No Creds REQ. You can also find our other podcasts and written content at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, listen to our podcast and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and on our host Podbean, Freshly Brewed Podcasts. And hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when shows go live, so you know when there's show announcements, so you know when there are clips of the show that go up. Again, also on Instagram and Facebook. So check us out there. But we're going to get you out of here. Thank you for joining us on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proud to be a part of Belly Up Sports. Saturday morning, we're back with our friend Brent talking about the World Baseball Classic, what's going on there. And again, next Tuesday, 6:30, our regular scheduled slot, 6:30 p.m. Eastern with Drew Willie. Again, World Baseball Classic. It's going to be dominating our sphere for the next 2 weeks or so before we splinter our schedule. So, for Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thanks for joining us. If you watched live, or if you're listening on the podcast, or you're watching on replay, thank you. Drop a comment in the comment section. And we will talk to you on Saturday morning.
Good night, everybody.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.